Not far from the beautiful city of Venice, hidden within the Venetian Lagoon, lies a small island. From a distance, it looks calm, silent, even peaceful. But for centuries, this place has carried a reputation so dark and terrifying that even fishermen refuse to sail too close. The island's name is Poveglia. To the locals, it is not just another abandoned island, it is a cursed land. Stories passed down from generation to generation speak of suffering, despair, and death. People believe that the ground itself is poisoned by tragedy, soaked with the ashes of thousands who perished here. Travelers say when you look at Poveglia from afar, you can feel an invisible weight pressing down on your chest. The closer you get, the colder the air becomes, as if the island is warning you to stay away. This is why many call it the most haunted island in the world, a place where the living fear to enter and the dead are said to never leave. In the 14th century, when the Black Death swept across Europe, Venice was one of the cities hit the hardest. The plague spread like wildfire, killing families within days, sometimes within hours. The city was drowning in death, bodies piled up in the streets. The stench of decay filled the air, and fear consumed everyone. The authorities became desperate. They needed somewhere to send the sick, the dying, and the dead. And so they turned to Poveglia. Boat after boat carried victims to the island. Some were already corpses, others were still alive, but barely breathing. Once they arrived, there was no escape. Here on Poveglia, thousands of people were left to die in agony. Their bodies were tossed into mass graves, while countless others were burned to stop the disease from spreading. The fires burned day and night, and smoke rose into the sky for weeks at a time. It is said that the soil of Poveglia is made of more ash than earth, because over 160,000 victims of the plague were dumped here. Those who lived nearby claimed they could hear screams drifting across the water, not only from the dying, but from the ghosts of those who never found peace. After the plague fires finally went out, Poveglia remained abandoned. But it was far from forgotten. Locals whispered that the island was cursed. Fishermen who sailed too close claimed their nets, pulled up human bones mixed with fish. Farmers who tried to use the land said their crops would wither, as if the soil itself rejected life. Generations of Venetians passed down chilling stories. They warned their children never to go near Poveglia. Some said strange lights flickered at night, as if torches were still burning among the ruins. Others claimed they heard cries echoing across the water, long after the last plague victim had died. The island became a forbidden place, a shadow on the beautiful Venetian Lagoon. And yet, centuries later, the government decided to use it once again, this time for something even darker than before. By the late 1800s, the Italian government saw Poveglia as the perfect place to hide away those society didn't want to see: the mentally ill, the unwanted, the forgotten. And so a mental asylum was built on the cursed island. From the very beginning, patients complained of terrifying visions. They said they saw dark figures walking through the corridors, shadows standing over their beds, and heard screaming at night. But their words were dismissed. After all, who would believe the insane? Yet the stories became darker. Rumors spread of a head doctor who used the island's isolation to perform cruel experiments. He carried out lobotomies with crude instruments, drilling into skulls without anesthesia, leaving patients broken and screaming. Many died in agony, their cries echoing through the decaying halls. Some say the doctor believed he was helping. Others say he was obsessed with power, using his patients as test subjects. But one thing is certain: the horrors inside. Poveglia's asylum were far worse than the plague fires that once burned outside. As the years passed, the doctor who ran the asylum began to lose his mind. Surrounded by endless suffering, haunted by the screams of his patients, he started to see the same dark shadows that terrified them. The voices that once belonged only to the insane now whispered to him too, calling his name, taunting him in the night. His obsession with the island's ghosts grew stronger, until he could no longer separate reality from madness. One night, he climbed the tall bell tower of the asylum. The details of what happened next remain a mystery. Some say he threw himself from the tower to escape the torment. Others insist he was pushed by the angry spirits of his victims. When his broken body hit the ground, it is said he was still alive, until a dark mist rose from the earth and consumed him. Locals believe his soul never left Poveglia. To this day, fishermen and the few who dared to enter the island claim they hear his anguished screams, echoing from the bell tower at night. The eternal punishment of a man who turned cruelty into science. By the mid-20th century, the asylum finally shut down. Doctors left, patients vanished, and Poveglia was abandoned once more. But silence did not mean peace. Fishermen who sailed too close to the island said their nets dragged up something horrifying, not just fish, but human bones. Terrified, they began avoiding the waters near Poveglia, choosing longer routes rather than risk passing by. Adventurers who dared to set foot on the island spoke of a heavy, suffocating energy. They described the sensation of being watched from the ruins, of cold hands brushing against their skin, and whispers that seemed to come from nowhere. Even paranormal investigators claimed Poveglia was unlike any place they had ever entered. Equipment malfunctioned, cameras shut down without explanation, and voices were captured on recorders. Cries of pain, moans of the dying, and chilling laughter echoing through the halls. It became clear that though the asylum was gone, the spirits of the plague victims, the tortured patients, and the mad doctor himself had never left. Today, the Italian government has completely sealed off Poveglia. No tourists, no fishermen, no explorers are allowed to enter. The buildings are crumbling, the trees are taking over, and the island sits in silence. A silence broken only by the whispers of the dead. Locals say at night, if you listen closely across the water, you can still hear the toll of the bell tower. A bell that hasn't rung in more than 100 years. Others swear they hear screams carried by the wind, voices of plague victims begging for help, or the tortured cries of patients from the asylum. Poveglia is a place where history and horror are forever bound together. Some places are abandoned for a reason, and this island is one of them. Step too close, and you may never truly leave.